So in the last class we have discussed wired LAN. This class will move on to wireless LAN. Just give brief introduction what is the main difference between both the methods. And today I will be sharing the assignment questions for the last assignment of this course. You can just complete that, and in case if you have kept any pending, see, until unless you submit all your assignments, okay, so will not allocate any final marks. So just keep that in mind, and you can start writing the assignment. So after end of this class I will be uploading the assignment. So any query regarding that, and also I will be sharing the what we can call the question bank for that may be useful for your third IA. Maybe today I will be sharing. So let me just go to the wireless LAN. Okay. So in the last class we have discussed wired LAN and its different categories. The standard Ethernet, fast Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet, and 10 gigabit Ethernet. Okay. So their features, all those things we have discussed. So today's class will move on to. Am I audible? No. Yes.
Audible, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So in the last class we have discussed about wired LAN, okay, where physical wire is used to connect the devices. Okay, so now we'll move on to another way of doing the communication, that is wireless LAN. Okay, so the standard given for wireless LAN is IEEE 802.11. Okay, so this is a standard, that is 802.11. So when I tell this number, so you should be knowing that this is regarding wireless LAN. Okay, so wireless LAN, it is identified with this standard. Okay, these are all the standards given by the IEEE. So IEEE has defined specification. Okay, so there are some set of specification that should be followed for wireless LAN. Okay, and it is called IEEE 802.11. So which covers physical and data link layer. Some of the functionalities, okay, so that is covered by physical layer and also link layer. So these are the main content we are going to discuss in this topic. Okay, so we'll try to touch upon what is the characteristics. Before to that, I can just give a brief distinguish between the wired LAN and wireless LAN. Followed by we'll discuss the architecture and MAC sublayer and physical layer. Okay, these are the main content. After this, we have one more concept called Bluetooth. Okay, I may need one class for explaining about the Bluetooth technology. It is one of the example for wireless LAN, and whatever you are using in mobile phone hotspot. So these are all comes under wireless communication. Okay, only the limitation with respect to these communication is the range. Okay, so they have limited range. Only if the nodes or the devices are within the range, then you will be able to communicate. Okay, so in that case we are going to learn some features or what is the architecture, packet format it is used in Bluetooth. After that, one more topic called cellular telephony, that is how cellular network is designed, how it works. Okay, brief introduction followed by their generation. In each generation, so what and all the features are added, okay, how it works, all those things we'll discuss. So let's go move on to the wireless LAN. So wireless communication, one of the fastest growing technology. So everybody, you can accept this statement that most of us, we are using all wireless devices for connections. Okay, even you take example of a mouse, okay, wireless mouse. So that is connected to the device with the help of Bluetooth. Okay, so whatever the earphones, wireless earphones you're using, these are all the devices connected through Bluetooth technology, okay, and also wireless LAN. So we'll just understand how this wireless LAN works. So the name itself tells wireless. Okay, to some extent the devices can be connected without wire. Okay, if it requires to connect for internet, so it is like a mixture of wired and wireless. Okay, so how it works, we'll just go through that. So the demand of connecting devices without use of cables is increasing everywhere. You just go back 10 years back and just check what was the technology during that time. Okay, like most of us, even the mobile phones also we were using very less, no, 10 years, maybe 15 years back. Okay, so we used to use landline phones only. But you just imagine now in a home, everybody will be having their individual mobile phones. Okay, that is the way the technology is improved. Okay, so the cost is reduced, the technology is improved, necessity was the situation. Okay, like this, based on this, every time the technology is growing. Okay, so still lot of if you are interested, just when you get a time, just go through what and all innovations are going on with respect to the communication. Okay, it's very interesting. At least you can just go through that and understand what and all it is happening. Okay, what and all it is in research progress. So that is a thing. So here uh, Wi-Fi. Okay, so example for wireless I am going to take is Wi-Fi. Okay, that is one of the example. What is the meaning of Wi-Fi stands for? So Wi-Fi stands for wireless fidelity. Okay, so I am going to just take this. This is the example of wireless LAN. So that is the demand for connecting device without use of cables. Okay, without use of cables is increasing. Obviously, no. So nobody like if you search for a landline phone, rarely you can find. Okay, otherwise it will be within the building or intercom. That type of the things will be there. But most of the things devices are whatever we are using. Those are all having no. It is not connected with the cables. So wireless LAN can be found on college. Okay, so where you can see if you come to a college, example of wireless LAN is Wi-Fi. Okay, so whatever the internet I am connected or somebody else is connected, so we are using the wireless LAN. So where it covers the campus, okay, then college or office building and many other public areas. Like it is going to be for a set of meters. Okay, so around it will be 500 to 1 kilometer range. So you can just go with a wireless LAN. So now before going to the further discussion of wireless LAN, so just you can have the comparison between the wired LAN and wireless LAN. Okay, it can be asked because we have discussed some of the features, the major features, what is the technique we have used in wired LAN and wireless LAN. Okay, you can just differentiate. Okay, so here the name itself tells wires are used to connect the host or the devices. Okay, and that wire or the cable is going to be acting as a medium. So in case of wireless, medium is going to be air. Okay, through it is going to make use of air as a medium and it start transferring the signals and it's possible to go for communication. So that is a major difference with respect to the media. And the next one is, so here to connect the devices, okay, from this device to the outer world, okay, that is we call it as internet. It requires wire. Through wire you are connecting this device to router. From router it is connected to the internet. Internet means it is the different networks. Okay, so I belongs to, my device belongs to different network and your devices belongs to different network. So then how it is connected through wire. Okay, so that is an example. In case of wireless, just see here all the devices are connected through wires. The system is connected, the device is connected to the router using cable, then router is connected to the internet using cable. But in case of wireless LAN, like to some extent it is wireless. So example, you can just take this is my device, this is also my device. Okay, within the campus or in a building, these are the devices are present. Okay, these devices can connect to the internet, okay, with the help of access point AP. Okay, so here to connect this device to the outer world, it does not require any wires, and this AP is connected to the router, and router is connected to the internet. Okay, internet means some other network. So now to connect this device to the AP, it does not require any cable. Only thing is it should be within the range. If it is within the range, it can make a communication and it can connect to the internet. Okay, so there is no physical wire connected between the devices. So that is one thing. Next, we can go with respect to the communication. So the type of communication in case of wired LAN is point to point. Okay, point to point communication. I will explain how it is. And here host is connected to internet. Host is connected to the network through link layer. So you just recall in the last class I've explained the data link layer is divided into two sub layers. Okay, one is logical link layer, okay, and another one we call it as MAC layer. Okay, are you getting? So in that point to point connection is, in point to point communication, host is connected to the network through link layer, that is belongs to data link layer. Okay, but here what happens is the host is not physically connected to the network. Okay, here it is not going to physically means with a cable it is not going to connect, but in case of wired LAN it is connected with a physically with a cable, so all the devices are connected. So example you can take, if you are taking this is the switch and these are the devices, so each of the devices are connected through the wires. Okay, so all these devices are connected to switch, and this switch is maybe connected to the router, then it is going to connect to the internet. So but in case of wireless LAN, so we have one type of architecture called Haddock architecture. Okay, that is ADHOC, Haddock. Haddock indicates here there is no infrastructure. Infrastructure means like a switch, router, base station, okay, all those things, it is not there. So but still these devices can make a communication. Okay, so the devices which are those are within that particular range can make a communication. So this node can communicate to this or this. Okay, but here there is no physical wires are connected. Okay, each host can communicate. In case if this node is not within the range, okay, if it is outside the range, then it is not possible to do the communication. So in this Haddock network, each node it is acting as a router itself. You already know what is the function of router, no? So where it is going to route the packets to a specified destination. So that operation also will be taken care by each of the device. So this device can act as a router and also a node. So these are the main differences between wired LAN and wireless LAN, and also in terms of, I told here point to point communication. So here I did not tell, it is broadcast communication. Okay, so you already know what is broadcast. So the communication in case of wireless LAN is broadcast. It is going to send to every node, but only the intended the device is going to accept and it will respond. Okay. So now what are the challenges or the characteristics with respect to wireless LAN? Okay, what do you mean by attenuation? You are familiar with these terms to some extent. What is attenuation? That is with respect to the strength of the signal. Okay, so if the signal is traveling for longer distance, are you people are understanding? If any queries, you can ask me in between. Okay, so the strength of the electromagnetic signal decreases rapidly because the signal disappears in all direction. Only the small portion of the signal is going to be received at the receiver side. If the signal is traveling for longer distance, okay, what happens? The strength of the signal is going down, and whatever the signal strength it is received at the receiver, it is like weakened a signal. The strength of the signal is very low. Okay, if it is the strength of the signal is very low, whatever the decoding it is going to happen, it may be not correct. You may not get the exact data whatever the sender is sent. That is one very challenging in wireless LAN. That is one of the important characteristics. Then interference. Okay, interference means it is overlapping, because the receiver it is in wireless, so this particular device may be receiving the signal from multiple devices. So another issue is that receiver may receive signal not only from the intended sender but also from the other sender if they are using same frequency band. Okay, so the signal may be coming from the different devices or different senders. So if that is the case, what happens is, so the signal is going to interfere. Okay, so the signals of this is sent by one source, maybe this is sent by some other source, like whenever there is a overlapping of the signal takes place, so whatever the data that is the signal is received at the receiver side, it may be not the exact what it is sent. Okay, that is also a little bit challenging in wireless LAN. Then multipath propagation. I don't know how many of you are interested. So this subject called wireless network, it's very interesting. So you should have a curiosity that how signal is going to propagate. So consider this is the base station. Okay, and you are here and you are just trying to call somebody else. How there is a communication. Okay, so how you are able to connect, from which devices make you to able to connect to your friend device. Okay, it's not so easy. Okay, so it is not directly you are able to, because this person is somewhere else and you are somewhere else, the distance is too large, then how communication is taking place? So always it is going to happen with respect to the with the help of base station. Okay, maybe you have seen the base station installed on so many buildings. Okay, so whatever the communication it is happening from your mobile phone, if you want to connect with the other person, so first the connection is established to that device, to this base station. Always the device is connected to the nearby base station. Okay, and this base station it is going to connect to the specified destination. Okay, that is one separate subject itself, wireless network. Okay, but we'll discuss to some extent the basic concept how cellular network works in the last topic. Okay, so here whenever the signal is traveling, okay, you can just imagine, do you think always you will get a straight NH4 road? No, you will be having so many buildings, okay, trees. So these are all obstacles. The signal may, the signal is going on that particular wall and it is going to reflect. Okay, and when it is reflecting, the strength may go down. So these are all the lot of problems or the challenges it is there in wireless networks. Okay, so already there are some solutions for that. So only thing is you need to understand. Okay, so if there is a building, okay, if the signal is, when it is traveling, it is going to uh, that is the receiver may receive more than one signal from the same sender. Okay, there will be reflection also. Okay, whenever signal propagate, or if it is moves on the wall or the some building, what happens, it is going to reflect, the signal is going to be splitted into multiple, and that is going to be sent to the sender, sorry, the receiver. So where there is a possibility of the signal may come in different directions. The signal from the same sender, okay, the electromagnetic wave can reflect back from the obstacle such as walls. So that is called as reflection. So what is the effect of reflection on a signal? So that you need to understand in wireless network. Okay. So here I cannot make you people to like understand more on wireless LAN, okay, or wireless network. So because that is a separate subject where lot of concept you need to understand how the signal is propagating, how it is going to hit on a wall so that it is splitted into multiple signals and that is received. All those things, challenges that comes in the wireless LAN. Then error. So we have already discussed with respect to error, that is signal to noise ratio. Okay, if SNR is high, it means that signals stronger than the noise. If it is SNR is low, it indicates that noise is more than the signal strength. So always, whatever the method it is used for communication, the SNR should be always less. Okay, you should be knowing what is SNR. We have discussed in the like a third chapter during discussion of the signal. Okay, what is signal to noise ratio? So it should be low. It means that the signal is corrupted by the noise and data cannot be recovered. If it is low, so signal is corrupted by the noise and the data cannot be recovered. Always SNR should be less. If it is high means, so that is signal, whatever the data you want to send, that particular signal is having higher signal strength compared to the noise. If it is low means noise ratio is going to be more. So if noise ratio is more, you just go back and check it, the transmission impairments. Okay, so if this is the signal to be sent and if noise is added, there may be possibility of the signal may change like this. Okay, so in that case, the whatever the data it is received, it is decoded incorrectly. So these are the lot of challenges that is there in wireless network, and these are the important characteristics you need to remember whenever you are working with the wireless network. Okay. So wireless LAN IEEE 802.11 architecture. Okay. So if they ask architecture, there are two types of architecture. How this wireless LAN works and what are the architecture, or if they ask services, you can give the same answer. So here IEEE has defined the specification for wireless LAN called IEEE 802.11, which covers physical and data link layer. It is sometimes called wireless Ethernet. So that is in some countries including United States, the public use the term Wi-Fi. Okay, so that is called as wireless fidelity. So that is also called wireless LAN. Okay, so even in India, everywhere we are using, in our campus, we are using the Wi-Fi. That is a good example of wireless LAN. Okay, so if this is the case, what are the different services it provides? This architecture or the standard 802.11, what are the services it provides? Mainly it provides two services. Okay, very important. This is very important. Okay, so that is, one is called basic service set, extended service set. Okay, one is called BSS and ESS. Okay, these are the two, either I can tell it as a architecture or service. So these are the two services that is provided by the wireless LAN. So we'll just go through each of these methods and how communication takes place. See, here I am talking about the wireless. That means there is no wire used for communication. Okay, so thinking that, we'll just move on to a basic service set, or we can call BSS in short. So 802.11 defines the basic service set BSS as building block of wireless LAN. The basic service set made of stationary or mobile wireless stations or optional central base station. Okay, so that the central base station we call it as access point. Okay, so normally for Wi-Fi to connect, so it requires to install access point. Okay, within that whichever the node that comes under that particular range, so those nodes can able to connect to that access point and they will be able to connect to the internet. Okay, so here the communication is taken place with the help of access point. So here we have two architectures you can just observe. So one is the BSS without an AP. AP means access point. I think normally you have heard this term access point. So even I can connect to my device. As of now I have connected to LAN, wired LAN. So if I don't want a LAN connection, if I remove that LAN connection, I can connect to Wi-Fi, okay, with the help of access point near to my system, okay, whichever the access point is there, so I can just connect to that. So in that case, you can just understand, so that concept we call it as Haddock architecture. So that is without access point. So you can just observe. So this is one separate network, okay, where there are 4 nodes are there, and these 4 nodes can make communication. Can you see here? I cannot put here like some line because it is wireless. So these devices can communicate each other. Here even there is no access point. So each of these devices which are that comes under this range, so those devices can communicate each other. So this mechanism or this type of network we call it as Haddock architecture. Okay. Without any infrastructure, the network that is formed is Haddock network. Okay, in case if you add any access point to connect to the outside internet, so then it becomes infrastructured BSS. Okay, so that is a BSS with AP. AP stands for access point. You can just observe the diagram. So this is my laptop, this is somebody else, okay, and here there is an infrastructure. That means there is some physical component through which I am able to communicate. Okay, so this is called as an infrastructure BSS. So now if any device want to communicate, okay, so still it is going to be in a BSS, but if this device want to communicate some other device connected in the other network, okay, so in that case the communication takes place through this access point. So this device is communicating to AP, then AP is going to communicate to the outside world. Okay, even there may be a router to connect to the internet, and this from through the internet that particular device can be communicated. Okay, Haddock means there is no infrastructure, there is no access point. So infrastructure BS means there will be an access point. With the help of this, so these devices can communicate each other. See, within the range directly they can communicate. If it requires to communicate with the station that is outside the range, outside the network or belongs to other network, then it requires the access point. Now if I connect to wireless or Wi-Fi, okay, so in that case I should connect first. I need to find out which is the nearby access point, then connect to that, then from there I will be able to connect to the internet. So this is one type of service that is supported by 802.11, that is called basic service set. In that two types, Haddock architecture and infrastructure BSS. Haddock architecture, it is called infrastructureless. Okay, infrastructureless, that means here there is no infrastructure installed or it is used. That's why it is called infrastructureless network or Haddock network. So another service that is called as extended service set, in short we call it as ESS. Okay, so extended service set is made up of 2 or more BSS with APs. So in this case, just understand it is just extended. So whatever the basic service set we have discussed in the previous, so that is extended. So extended means here only this complete, whatever the range you can see, no, so this complete range, the system belongs to this range, we call it as BSS. So now in case there is a need of the device need to communicate between the BSS, okay, this is one BS consider and this is another BS. If the device of this BSS want to communicate the device of this BSS, okay, in that case how it is done, so that is given by extended service set. That is, extended service set is made up of 2 or more BSS with access point. Okay, just having BSS it is not enough. To communicate between the BSS it requires the access point. Okay, so there should be an access point here within the BS, and that BS is going to communicate to the other station belongs to the another BSS. So here the distribution system connects APs in BSS, and 802.11 does not restrict the distribution system. It can be any IEEE LAN such as Ethernet. Okay, distribution means it is not within the BS. Okay, between the BSS, even it can connect to the wired LAN also. So for that we have a diagram. Let me just go to the diagram. You can just observe. So this is just extended of this architecture. Okay. So if you want to make communication between the BSS, so then it requires to go for extended service set. So how communications takes place in this extended service set? So this is example of BSS extended service set. So if any device within this range, any of these devices can communicate directly. Okay. If this device want to communicate, okay, give station A want to communicate with a station C of this BSS. Okay. So then, so this device first it has to communicate with AP. Then this AP is connected to the other BSS with a wired network. You can just see it is wired network. Whatever the BSS you can see, it is wireless. Always network we cannot tell it is completely wireless. It will be part of it is wireless, and remaining may be connected to the wired network. Okay, then this access point is connected to the router, and with the help of this router it is going to route the data to a specified destination. Okay, so that is how the extended service set works. Okay, so what are the station types? The different types of stations available, or three types. So IEEE 802.11 defines three types of stations on their mobility. Okay, mobility means the movement of the node. Okay, there may be possibility the nodes may be static. Static means always it will be in the same place. Okay, it cannot move. So such type of stations we call it as no transition mobility. Okay, that is the station with no transition mobility is either station, okay, stationary, or it may be moving. Okay, so either it may be stationary means it will be in the same place, no movement of that particular node, not moving or moving only inside the BSS. Okay, so maybe the device can move only within this range. Okay, it is not going to the outside the range of this particular BSS. So that is called as no transition. No transition means no movement. Next, BSS. The second one is BSS transition mobility. Can move, the node can move from node or device or the station can move from one BSS to the another BSS, but the movement is confined inside one ESS. Okay, so the node, this node can move to the this node. So you can just observe when you come to college. Okay, now I have connected to SPC left wing. If I move to a little bit right side, okay, so I may not able to get this Wi-Fi connection. Okay, I may not able to find the access point of this because I am moving going far away from the range of that particular access point. Okay, so I may be getting the access point of the left right wing. Okay, so accordingly whichever the access point it is there, so I will be able to connect to that. So that means here the transition, so the BSS or the node is going to move from one BS to the another BS. Okay, so that is called as BSS transition, and also it should be within the ESS. Whatever the movement of the node it is going to take place, it should be within the ESS, extended service site. Then the last one is the ESS transition. The station can move from ESS to another ESS. Okay, in case if it is having more than one ESS, so in that case also the node can move from one ESS to the another ESS. Okay, so only thing is during movement of the node, so it is not possible to ensure that the communication will be having the break or something. You will face a problem now when you are traveling. You can we cannot ensure that the connection is going to be very good. Okay, there will be a voice break, or you will not be able to hear what the other person is talking. So all of these problems arises during the movement of the nodes from ESS to the another ESS. Okay, in future, if anybody is interested, okay, you can just take these topics and you can just do for you can just do some studies on this and you can do the project. Only thing is, so whatever the network we are going to discuss now, so this is in real time exactly, you cannot do trial. Okay, only thing is you can go with the simulators. Okay, so you can just code using simulators to imitate how this network works. Okay, if anybody interested, you just find out what are the simulators that supports to work with the wireless networks. Okay. So next we'll move on to the packet format. So IEEE, even for wired LAN we have discussed the packet format. So for even wireless LAN, it is having its own the packet format. Sorry, I cannot use the term packet because we are discussing at the data link layer. So I should use the term frame format. What is the frame format used here? You can just observe MAC layer frame consists of 9 fields. Okay, these are all the standard one. You cannot change any of the content here. You have to write as it is and describe each of the field. Okay, that is your duty. So it is knowledge level comes under just understanding K2 level. You need to write the frame structure and explain the fields. Okay, so let's go one by one. I'll just explain because you are already familiar with some of the fields. Okay, only the whichever it is a new thing that is added to the frame, I'll be focusing on to that. The first one is called frame control. Okay, so frame control. So allocated number of bits is 16. Okay, that is total 2 bytes are allocated to this field. So what exactly this field contains? So it tells type of frame, okay, and some control information. What is the type of frame, what type of frame it is, and some other control information. So for that they have given all possible values for this 2 bytes. Okay, so you can just remember at least one or two. I'll just show you. Okay, so the first bit may contains X field. Okay, that indicates the explanation of that particular field, frame control, then followed by version. What is the version of the frame? So if it is current version, the value will be 0. Then type of information. Okay, so we have discussed like in the data link layer, the previous chapter, what type of frame it can send. It is not always the data frame. Okay, so data frame only the node, if it is having data to send, that it is going to send. To manage the session, okay, to transfer this data, it requires some frame control. Okay, so where it is controlling the communication, like example acknowledgement. Okay, so that type of information it is sent through the control message. And management, it is nothing but like establishing the link between source and node. Okay, handshake protocol. So all those things it is taken care by a management frame. So you can just see there is a number given for that. So 00 means the type of frame is management frame, control frame, and data frame. If it is 10. Next we have subtype. Subtype of each type indicates, like you just recall during discussion of CSMA CD, CSMA CA. Okay, so that is carrier sense multiple access collision avoidance. So in this we have used one technique called, so to avoid the collision we have used two special packet. Those are all called control packet, RTS and CTS. RTS and CTS. Clear to send, sorry, this is request to send and this is clear to send. Okay, before transmission of data, it should ensure that nobody is doing transmission. Okay, and it should inform other nodes that don't transfer any data. Now I am transferring. To indicate all this information, we have used these control frames. So I'll be just explaining this how it is used, RTS and CTS in the next topic. And here, if it is RTS message, the value should be 1011. If it is acknowledgement, okay, here I have not given CTS. So acknowledgement, it will be having value 1101. Okay, so the type subtype. Okay, if you are telling it is a control type of frame, in that what type of control frame is it, RTS, ACK or it is CTS, to inform that these are the values given. Then followed by 2, DS stands for defined later. Okay, so these fields are not defined, 10 and 11, so there is nothing defined here. Okay, so it is just reserved the this particular space. Then there are so many other flags. I want you people just go through those flags. Okay, just remember some of the flags and you can just explain what is frame control. So that finishes the frame control. Let me just go to the second field. The second field, D. What is D represent here? Okay, so here D stands for define the duration of the transmission, that is used to set the value of network allocation vector. Okay, so there is one term called network allocation vector. So I'll be just explaining this in the next topic. Just remember that. Okay, so this regarding this information you are going to set. Okay, how long the what is the duration of the transmission, so that you need to set here. Then followed by address. Okay, for address you have 4 fields. Address 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 address fields, each 6 bytes long. You can just observe the size of each address is going to be 6 byte. Okay, so these addresses are used depending on what is the destination address, okay, and also the source address. So the corresponding information will be filled in this case. Then we have one more field called sequence control. Okay, sequence control. So the name itself tells sequence. See, when you were sending, just recall either packet switching or circuit switch or datagram. So whatever the data sent, it is not receiving at the destination in the same order, because if the data is coming from multiple paths, so there is a delay. Consider this is the first packet to be supposed to be reaching the destination. Okay, but if this is the frame that is arrived at this node first, okay, if that is the case, all the frames whatever it is coming, if it is out of order, so it requires to order all the packets. How it is done? For that it requires this field where there will be number added to each of the frame. According to this frame number, it is going to perform the sequence control. Okay, just remember sequence number assigned for each of the frame, and it can be used at the destination to reorder the frames that is collected. Next, we have one more field called frame body. Okay, frame body. So it can be used between the values, the location or the number of bytes reserved for frame body is 0 to 2312 bytes. Okay, it contains the information based on the type and subtype field in the FC field, that is frame control field. So it will be having the actual data. Then followed by FCS. What is this FCS? It is nothing but your CRC. Okay, the name is changed to frame checksum sequence. Okay, used for error detection and correction. It is of size 4 bytes. Okay, so it is little bit difficult to remember, so you need to practice. So this is a standard format for 802.11 and you need to explain each of the term. So what is the purpose of that particular field? Okay, this is also very important. Many times it is asked in the exam paper. So maybe even I may give for this question to the test. So you need to write the packet format followed by the explanation. Okay, so there are different types of frames. So one is called, I think now itself I told in the previous topic, frame type. Can you see here types? So what type of frame it is? Depending on what type of data it is going to carry, accordingly it is classified into three. One is called management frame, control frame and data frame. So here management frame indicates management frames are used for initial communication between station and access point. I told that is mainly used for establishing the connection. Just recall three-way handshake. That is initially if sender and receiver want to make a transmission or communication, first it is going to ask for request. Are you ready for communication? Okay, if this is considered request. If this device is ready, then it is going to send an acknowledgement indicating I am ready. Okay, then actual data transmission takes place. Okay, so this is data frame, and whatever you have used the frames for establishing the connection, that comes under management frames. Okay, then control frames are used for accessing the channel and acknowledging the frames. Okay, so that is shown in the below diagram. Okay, so I think I've used this RTS and CTS in CSMA CA. Okay, so what and all it contains? Frame control, and this is the type of data address followed by frame checksum sequence if it is RTS, and these are all control information where it is going to control the communication either in terms of accessing the channel or in terms of transmission of the data, and this is going to be frame control once again. Then so you can just see there is no data here actually. There is no data. Only thing is it is going to indicate a particular corporation for what purpose you are sending this. And here D indicates as usual in the main frame format I told it is the duration. So how long it is going to take to transmit the data, that information it is going to be stored. Okay, these are all called control frames. And the values are assigned here to indicate what type of control frames it is sending. You can just see here 1011 indicates RTS. So here it is not going to specify RTS. Instead of that, it is going to having this particular value subtype. Okay, and to indicate this control information is clear to send and acknowledgement, all these things. Okay, I think next we have one more concept, that is how 802.11 works in terms of protocols. We'll discuss this part in the next class. Okay, so today I'm going to give one assignment. I want maybe that is the last assignment for your this data communication course. Any doubts before going to the next? Any queries?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So this is little bit theory part, there is no problem. Only thing is you need to remember the standard formats and you have to explain each of the field.